Welcome to the first ever episode of the Behind the VR Headset podcast. With me today, I have Skeeva from the Between Realities podcast and employee for After the Fall. How are you doing?
Good, dude. I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. We've had fun just setting up the studio, right? So
it looks so good.
Yeah. Thanks.
You did great.
Let's talk about Neos, because we're actually in Neos now, which is the metaverse, and
it is a social piece of what will eventually be the metaverse. Yeah,
definitely. And it's crazy. So I think you commented on one of my videos or something on YouTube, and then we started talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we were like, let's play Population 1.
Mm-hmm.
It was you and Paul, and then you guys were like, what, you've never done VR chat? You've never done Neos or anything like that? And I was like, what's Neos? Right?
Yeah, that's right. By the way, thank you for carrying us through that game.
Oh, no, we got about 10 kills each, remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, we all did great. That's right.
10 kills each. You should have seen it.
Like 8 billion damage each. It was great.
So, I just wanted to say, I love your podcast. I've only been watching it recently. Huge fan of the show. A lot of all the big names come and check out the podcast. So that's brilliant. That is really cool. Tell us about how that came about Between Realities, and how you know Alex, how long you've known him, and where the idea came from.
Sure. Yeah. So back in the day, I fell in love with VR, and I wanted to make VR friends, right?
Okay.
The Quest had come out, and in my mind, I had this vision of people, gathering together and doing things like Space Pirate Arena, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe renting out larger venues and everyone running around with their headsets on. So I started a Reddit called VRNAZ because I live in Arizona, and with the intent to gather people together in real life to play VR. And our first meetup, right before the pandemic, I scheduled for a VR arcade at a low latency place, and Alex is the only one that showed up. So
the only two at the party, right? Yeah,
exactly. So besides a couple of my personal friends, but so me and Alex are sitting there, and Alex is like, well, I guess the two of us are the biggest VR fans in all of Arizona. Otherwise, they would be here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So then, so we just became really good friends after that. Alex had his own channel called Alex VR, where he was putting up some videos, random stuff, gameplay, some interviews, things like that. And, we just would hang out in my backyard and have these great conversations.
Oh, okay.
And we were like, these conversations are great. We should share this, just do a podcast. And that's kind of how it all started. And we started the podcast and started inviting guests on every week to partake in these conversations with us. And the rest is history.
So who was your first guest?
So our first guest was someone that came in, and we did the entire episode, and it wasn't live. We were pre-recording, right? And then after an hour and a half of this episode, doing a great show, we played it back afterwards, and the audio was unusable. It was all choppy and messed up and screwed up. So we had Anthony from VR365, and you might not know. I don't know if you know Anthony from VR365 because he used to have a show where he did a VR show every single day on YouTube. He was like, I watched him religiously, and I was so stoked to have this dude on, and the whole thing got screwed, and we had to throw it away, and it was a total bummer.
Oh man! So what did you do? Just do a quick re-recording, and I guess it'll never be as good as the original, right? So
right. Yeah, we didn't bother, man. We just figured, we'll chalk it up as a loss. We'll have him on again eventually, in another couple episodes or something, and we'll do some new content. So after Anthony, I believe the next one that actually saw the light of day, I think was Eric for president.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's cool. He's
great.
Got
super fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's a good dude. So we had a great time, man. Oh wait, was it Eric? It might have been either Eric or it might have been actually, you know what? I think it was Sasha LeBaron. Sasha LeBaron worked for another metaverse platform called Somnium Space. I don't know if you've heard of Somnium Space.
No, I haven't.
Somnium Space it's kind of like a Neos in a way, but everything in Somnium Space is controlled by blockchain. Like all the different pieces are all blockchain enabled, right? So everything is kind of an NFT in a way. But but there's also a lot of constraints in Somnium Space. Like you go somewhere and you want to go to someone's pad. There's no teleportation. There's no like clicking on them. Like you got to walk there or drive there. It's kind of silly. But, it's fine. But so this guy came on. He was awesome. We had some really in-depth, good conversations. One of the things we talked about, though, is one of these is a feature that Somnium Space is trying to implement, where they want to be able to make you immortal, right? So you can pay them, and they will record your movements, all of your audio, and your likeness while you're in there. And then after gathering hundreds or thousands of hours of this, they're able to pump it through an AI system and reanimate you after death.
I have heard of that. That's
brilliant,
I guess, and a bit freaky, weird at the same time.
It's very Black Mirror, right?
Yeah, it's very
totally wild. Yeah.
So did you take part in that?
I didn't. No. I mean, maybe someday I will, but like it's a whole feature that they're trying to get up and running, and it costs money to be able for them to store all this data. They're not like Facebook where they just take it all. You got to pay for them to store it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, it was great. It was a great show. Really enjoyed it, and then we've just had banger after banger of amazing guests every single week.
Yeah.
We've been so fortunate that everyone is like really eager to take part in the show. So it's been fantastic.
You've had some brilliant guests, like all the big names, I'd say, in the VR community, and content creators, and just from every single kind of person, like developers. So I've been following it quite recently, the past few months since I met you. So
cool.
Yeah, it's taken off really well, and everyone's always in the chat. There's loads of people in the chat talking all the time.
Yeah, we've become kind of the show for content creators.
Yeah.
We don't have like a massive audience, right? We only have a couple thousand subscribers, but like all the people in the industry watch us, I mean, like from content creators to different game studios, we get all kinds of nice messages from people and from all over the place, all the different major studios, and they're all fans, and it's great. They appreciate what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It's awesome to be able to help grow the community and kind of introduce everyone to each other. And
that's I think even through your chat, I've noticed a lot of names and like spoken to them in one form or another off there. So yeah, it's doing really well. Who do you have coming up like next? The next few guests. Do you have many people lined up? Because you said you normally booked up like a few months in advance, right?
We do. We are. We're usually booked up pretty far in advance. We just had on Adam Bombadi, who's a content creator, and she's also a business development manager for Live. So we talked about all of the mixed reality stuff and the camera smoothing stuff and the volumetric capture and all the things that they're doing to make it so people can see what VR is and what it's like. So then they'll want to come in and try it.
She had some really interesting things she was talking about as well. What are you most excited about out of the whole of that conversation?
Well, I'm a huge fan of mixed reality, right? Like I love being able to show people what it's really like to play VR, because you see VR games and on a flat screen, it just looks like a standard flat game with terrible camera, right? Because your head's moving around and going kind of all over the place, and people try to watch this footage, and some people that are susceptible to motion sickness can't even watch your footage, right?
Yeah.
So, but they take you and they place your actual body in the game and show people what it's like to actually play these games in a much more accurate way than just capturing your first person view. But they also have other tools, right? They have a full streamer kit where you can kind of see your Twitch chat on your hand. They have motion smoothing for the social display. So when you're bobbing around and you're shooting things, the plane of your view stays straight. And it looks way better than just standardly capturing VR footage. So they have all kinds of great ways to improve the capture of VR footage and make it look good. So
yeah, I have that issue as well, because I did a video just yesterday, and it was a bit shaky. So I'm going to start using tools like that as well, because it makes a hell of a difference. You can
It
tell.
really does. Yeah, it does. It brings your content up to the next level.
Yeah,
makes it much more enjoyable to watch. Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And then next week we have Basti on. I don't know if you know who Basti is, but Basti is like the one of the main hackers and data miners that has been able to rip apart the Quest, and he always leaks what's coming next. He's also been able to do things like remove Facebook integration from the Quest, so and then deploy a tool on side quests, so if people don't want to use Facebook with their Quest, they can go in there and they can remove it. But Basti is very big in the community, and being able to see what's happening, what's coming next, and just tear apart. He's a hacker. It's good stuff. So I'm excited to talk to him.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff for the Quest, hasn't he? Pretty much everything, right? He's hacked everything.
Yeah.
So,
and he talks to, shares his data with, sadly it's Bradley and the Mystical and some of the bigger guys, and together they make an incredible team to kind of be able to dive in and see more of what Meta's doing besides what they're telling us. So
some inside info, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Like all the Quest, the Metacambria headset images and renders that you see have pretty much come from Basti ripping stuff out of the code. So
yeah, him and sadly it's Bradley are really
like
into
power team.
Yeah, properly. They blow your mind, the stuff they come out with.
Yep.
Especially Bradley.
We've had Bradley. Bradley's awesome. He's such a good dude, and he's working for Live now too, which is fantastic. Right? But we've had him on the show as well, and he's great.
He got the job quite recently. I saw in the past month or so. Yeah. Good for him, because he's putting so much work into what he does on his channel, right? So
yeah, he does.
He's growing pretty fast.
He's incredible.
Yeah. He's growing pretty fast as well. Because I remember not recently, but a few months back, he's on a few thousand, and then later down the line, just everyone's watching his content, because he goes proper deep into everything. So, and everyone wants to know what the next headset is, or the newest thing.
Yeah, he's super obsessive compulsive about this stuff, which is what makes this stuff awesome, right? He goes through every line of code for every single new thing that comes out. He any update, rips it apart. He checks for differences, what's been added, what's new, and then analyzes what each component is to try to figure out what's happening behind the scenes. So it's pretty cool. It's good stuff.
Let's talk about your first VR experience. What was that?
Yeah. So when I was a young lad, me and my sister went to this convention in Boston, Massachusetts. It was called like the Future Convention or something. It was early in the 90s. And there was a system there. It was called the Virtuosity, I think that's what it was called. And there was a game called Dactyl Nightmare. And this is like early 90s, right? So the headset was CRT, big thick screen, weighed 1 million pounds. You stood in this tracking ring, and you held onto one controller, which served as your gun, and also had a thumbstick or something to be able to move. And then my sister stood in the one next to me, and we went into this virtual world, which was like multiple platforms floating in space, and we each had a gun. And I saw my sister as an avatar, and I was able to shoot her, and it blew my mind.
In the early 90s, right?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, man. From that point forward, I was obsessed with the future of VR. So this was like 20 frames a second, like barf-tastic VR, right? But I mean, it was just really special to me. It's super nostalgic, and it's the beginning of something so amazing. And then after that came the Lawnmower Man, the movie.
Yes.
And I watched that like 1 trillion times. But yeah, my first experience was actually a multiplayer experience. Dactyl Nightmare. So it was great.
What were the controllers like? Were they like today's controllers, or was it?
No, not at all. I mean, so there's one controller that went in the palm of your hand here, and it kind of had like almost like a gun shape, but it was corded. Everything was corded. I mean, nothing was wireless yet. Bluetooth didn't exist yet, so everything was kind of wired up. But it was only one controller, so you can only move one arm. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty decent controller for what it was, So it was very immersive.
what did you do between then and the 2010s, wasn't it really? 2010s?
Yeah, it's like 2016.
Yeah.
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 I mean, so I just kind of followed who was doing what, where, and I, just kind of waiting for the day of VR to come back because the virtuosity was not practical. It was super expensive. There's no way to get one for home. I mean, you had to be a business, try to recoup your costs on the thing. And there was like maybe 3 games or something, right? And they ran, like I said, at 20 frames a second. And if you know anything, like the headsets, we're on indexes, right? We're running at like 144 frames a second. 20 frames a second is gross, but I mean, it's still like, I didn't take it at face value. When I was in that headset, I saw the future, and I was obsessed. So anyway, I kind of like watched as like, Palmer Luckey started to create the Oculus, and like the Kickstarter happened and the DK1, and at that time I couldn't really afford to just buy a PC and go all in on this and hope that this was the VR that I was hoping it would be. So I waited, and the PSVR came out, and I got that on launch day. And
nice,
I went into a couple experiences. The first experience I did was the Shark Tank one, which I was blown away.
Same
and
here.
The next one was the London Heist. And
Brilliant,
the London Heist blew my mind.
Yes.
Like, I was like, this is it. This is it. The world from this day forward is different. It's not the same. This technology is going to be so massive, it's ridiculous. And I kind of started my transition out of everything that I'm doing. I went and I saved up and I bought like a great PC, all the best parts. I got myself an Oculus Rift, and then later, a Vive, and dove in, full, every way I could, anything I could do. I bought every single game. And I just got into it, man. And I spent so much time in VR and just became even more obsessed. And, now I sold my company, I did IT, and I'm just working in VR now and doing podcasts, and everything I do is VR related now.
That's great, because you're doing what you love, right? That's the best job to have.
Yeah. It is. I couldn't think about anything else. Like this technology to me is so profound and so amazing. It's going to change the world in so many ways. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't sit back and do anything else anymore, because this was always there and in my mind, and I couldn't get the potential, the ultimate potential of this tech out of my brain, and I needed to do what I could to move the industry forward the best that I could. So here I am.
And my first experience in VR was a Shark Tank as well, because
nice.
I had the PlayStation, and I never tried VR, so I just thought, what's this about? Let me try it. Sounds good. And again, like you, I was blown away. It was amazing. I remember just that Shark Tank one. I would get all my friends and family round, and just tell them it was like a simulator just for ocean diving. I wouldn't tell them anything about the sharks. I would just get kicked. I would just love it. I'd watch them screaming and that. I was like, no, you got to stay in it. You got to stay in it. But it's yes, very, very twisted, I know. But it was great. It was awesome. Did you ever do that to anyone?
Awesome. I did, but I did tell them that stuff was going to happen at the end. I remember, for example, I put this one dude in a game called Brookhaven Experiment. If you haven't played the Brookhaven Experiment, like one of the levels is you're just standing in a field, there's no locomotion, but things come at you from 360 degrees, right? And it's dark, you have a flashlight in one hand, a gun in the other, and these creatures are coming through the bushes at you, and they're very realistic. But one of the things that happens in that game is sometimes you're focusing on what's happening right here in front of you, and you don't realize something came up right behind you, right? So my friend turns around and it scared the crap out of him, and he took off running right into a wall and almost destroyed my brand new 70-inch TV, right? Wow. So I'm really careful to put someone in something that's going to scare them, and because you don't know how people are going to react to these things. Like my friend running Like he swung, like he tried to punch it and then ran. It was like a total like fight and flight reaction.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I think what I'm going to do is just strap people down to the chair. They can't go anywhere. That'd be a better one, right?
Work too.
Just say, it's a roller coaster ride and just strap them down and they can't get anywhere. But
that'll work.
I think we should talk about Neos, because I know I was saying we did meet in Population 1. We were going to play, and then you invited Paul as well. I remember you said, my friend's going to join. And I remember thinking, it's like a first date when you bring a friend with you just in case the other person's like a weirdo. That's how I felt when I was playing with you. So,
well, my thoughts were like Population 1 is a team of 3, and I didn't want a random in there, like a random screecher that was in there just ruining our time, right?
Yeah.
So I brought my own screecher.
I thought it was me. I thought, you were worried about something I said. I wouldn't blame you. I'd say some weird stuff sometimes, and then you introduced. You said, have you played Neos before? And I was like, what's Neos? And I said, I've got VR chat. I've had it for ages, but I've never played it. And he was like, gosh, you got to try out Neos. You have to try it out. So I thought, okay, after we played, I went on VR chat, walked around, met some people, and I thought that's just pretty cool. The avatars are really cool. And then I downloaded Neos, and Paul from the VRRealm. Shout out to Paul, VRRealm, top guy. Subscribe to his channel, guys, because he's really helped me out with building this studio as well. And so
awesome,
is Skeeva too. Yeah, he really helped me out. It would just be a big, plain, barren nothing. Maybe 2 seats and 2 cameras and a toilet maybe and a bed maybe. That'd be it if it wasn't for him. So yeah, he's great. Check out his channel. So he brought me in, and I was like, just blown away, because VR hasn't, that first PSVR experience, or your first experience in the 90s, it's hard to replicate that or go higher, set the bar higher and be like, oh my God. So when I first got into Neos, I just couldn't believe it. Even the stuff you were showing me today in behind the scenes of your studio, I was like, oh my God, I thought, and then I said to you, I go, yeah, my studio's pretty basic compared to yours, because your studio is insane. Like, you've done so much stuff. It's a brilliant studio. That is well done on that.
Thanks.
It's awesome. So
appreciate that.
Yeah, we went around. He showed me some stuff. So then I thought, I spoke to you beforehand, and I said, do you want to do an interview on my channel? On VR chat, because I went into VR chat. I go, we can just stand in a room anywhere and just do an interview. And you're like, yes, but I want to do it in Neos. And I was like, damn it, because that is why I started building this whole place. Is because you wanted to play it, in Neos, because it's like a princess. Whatever the princess wants, the princess gets, right? Princess Skeeva.
Thank you.
We'll talk about that after the show when the cameras are off, mate. So, it absolutely, yeah, there you go. Look at that.
Thank you.
Just need to get you a little
Princess
dress.
Skieva's here.
Can you? Do you have any dresses in your inventory?
I actually don't. But for next time, I'll have a dress for you.
What happens in Neos stays in Neos, right? So if you want to dress up as a girl, I won't judge you.
You can be anything you want to be in the metaverse. Anything.
Yes, that's what my mummy said. Mummy said to me when I was little, I can be anything I want to be. So, yeah.
Yeah, see, she knew Neos was coming.
Yeah, yes, definitely. So, I came out of Neos, and I was like, this is amazing. And then a few days ago, my friend Mac in VR, who also has a channel, shout out to Mac in VR.
I love Mac.
Yeah,
awesome,
Mac is great.
Dude.
I met him in a random game in Population 1, right at the beginning when it first came out. And I think I was streaming on Twitch or something like that. And I said, just another 3 kills and I've got 500 kills for the week. And just a voice out of nowhere goes, oh, you shouldn't be dressed as a like a normal PJ if you're killing 500 people a week. And then that's how it started. Then we started talking, then we started playing, and then we became a solid team all the time. And then I supported his channel. He supported my Twitch as well. And we've been really good best mates since then. So
nice.
I thought, let me get to grips with Neos first for a week or so, play around with things, and I'll start bringing people into the metaverse. And so he was stood there, and he's like, the hairs on my arms are standing up, and the back of my neck. He goes, I can't remember the last time I had that experience, because it's just mind blowing. You can't explain it, right?
Right, dude. So when I first got into Neos, like it was the first time I was as excited as the first day that I put a headset on.
Yes.
I saw the infinite potential of what will be in the future, right? Like VR chat is this like, it's great, fantastic program. You get to run around, people create things, but they create things outside of VR and they bring them in. It's a little bit more of a pain in the butt. And then everything you do in there is very static. It's like walking through a movie.
Yeah.
You see something, oh, that's nice. Can I play with it? No. Can I mess with it? No. And Neos, anything you see is interactable. Everything that you do, you can build within the platform. You never have to leave. You don't have to go into Unity and build something and come back in and, oh, that scale's wrong, and leave and come back. And then everyone can build together collaboratively. You can open inspector windows together. You can add drivers to things and logics to things. And if you pick up something, you're like, oh, why doesn't this do what I think it should do? You just pull out a dev tip and then you just make it happen. You just make it happen. And it's amazing. And this platform is, as long as the founders can keep their stuff together, you know, could be absolutely massive. So we've watched Mark Zuckerberg go on and you know, and like on Connect and like kind of show everyone his vision of the metaverse, right? But all of the stuff that he's like, oh yeah, we'll be able to do this stuff in like 10 years. You can do it all right now in Neos. And it all looks 1,000 times better than it does in his crappy Horizons. Right? Wow. Did you get excited there for a minute? I know. I get excited too, man. I get so excited.
Oh my God, what happened there? Just point it. There you go.
Click on the one. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I know. I get stoked too. Like, Neos. Yeah. But
So
everything that Zuck has showed, you can do now, here, and you can do it better than anything that he's designing. So by the time he is at the point where Neos is now, Neos is going to could be light years ahead. Right? And Zuck's spending $10 billion a year and has like 13,000 people working on this. Right? That's insane. Neos is like a programmer, a financial guy, and then the community has built the rest.
Yes.
Right? Like, how do you even compare? I have body haptics that works on everything. I can feel when people touch me and shoot me with things. And yeah, I mean, everything in here, there's facial tracking. As you've seen, Paul uses his eye trackers and his mouth tracker. And like, yeah, I mean, it supports everything because you don't have to go to the developers and say, hey, there's this new device. Can you put it, can we link it up and make it work? Like someone in the community buys it and they come in and they make it work with Neos and then they share it with everyone, right? Yeah. It's truly community driven. And because of that, it has infinite possibility.
Yeah, it's amazing. Even when we came in earlier, it was just like you was doing all this crazy stuff, and I was still blown away every day by the stuff you can do because I'm still a complete noob. I know the basics of how to get around and maybe make things bigger and smaller. How to import screenshots, of course, and lose them everywhere.
Of course, yeah.
So these lovely screenshots that I have here. And at the moment, what projects are you working on in Neos? Is there anything that you're building or anything? Or
so, I have lots of things that I want to do. You know, my studio originally I made because I want to create the first hybrid VR podcast. So our show on YouTube is a mixed reality show. Where we do the podcast from a spaceship in outer space. It's called Between Realities, right? You can't do a show called Between Realities and do it from your basement. It just wouldn't make any sense, right? So flying through space. But the ultimate goal is to be able to have what's happening on YouTube also happening in Neos at the same time, right? So it's a true mixed reality, virtual reality, in the metaverse, outside of the metaverse, you know, all happening at the same time. Life in the VR world has thrown a lot at me. So there's a lot going on, and it's been really hard to come in and be able to work on this stuff all the time like I thought I would be able to. But ultimately, that is the goal, and that's kind of what I'll be focusing on as soon as I get a little bit more time to come back in here and spend more time in here.
Yeah, and you also, let's talk about Vertigo games and After the Fall, because that game is brilliant. I actually took somebody in yesterday who played it once. They was amazed because it's totally different. You got it's so many updates and guns and weapons. So tell us about how you got into working for Vertigo games.
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, I had sold my company, and because I didn't want to do anything but VR anymore, and so I was taking side projects just to survive, but and just kind of working for free, right? Because I love this industry so much, I want to work in it. So I just started doing everything I possibly could. I did some stuff for Cyber Shoes and just different companies. But eventually a job opened at Vertigo Games, and I love Vertigo Games. I loved Arizona Sunshine and some of the other titles they've been able to put out. And I live in Arizona, right? So I mean, it just seemed like a perfect fit for me. But I applied for the job and I got it, and and then I was able to kind of watch the development of After the Fall happen behind the scenes, and play it early and give feedback, and it was super great. And it just so happened that I took a job with a studio that was going to put out what was going to become one of my favorite VR games. Like, what are the chances? You know, a lot of people kind of discredit my opinion on After the Fall because I work for Vertigo, and I understand that, but it's hard to fake the hours, right? Like, I have, between Oculus and Steam, I have like 160 hours in After the Fall. Wow. That's hard to do in a game that you don't like, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I truly love After the Fall. I think it's super special. There's nothing else out there that hundreds and hundreds of zombies are just running at you, and you're just plowing these things down with your friends in all kinds of creative ways of killing zombies, right? And bodies just stacking up, and there's these beautiful white snowy scenes that by the end of a horde, it's everything's covered in blood. It's just sick. I mean, the game is everything that I want, and it keeps me hooked because of the insane weapon progression system. I mean, you start off with these weapons that you're like, oh, this weapon's pretty cool, but then as you unlock more and more things, you unlock a new barrel and a new stock, and maybe some tape for the stock, and some new sights, and extended magazines, and just all of this stuff. And slowly but surely, this gun becomes more and more accurate and more disgusting, right? Where you're able to go in there and just feel like a sick badass, just mowing down hundreds of zombies that are coming at you, and it's just great. And the progression system of the guns is fantastic. The skins and the painting, and it's just great, man. I love that game. I just love it, and I'm so proud to work for the studio that put it out. So
yeah, they've done really well. They smashed it. It's weird, that game, because I put a lot of hours in, and then it's one of those games where it's like, okay, After the Fall, we'll play that next week. But not that it's not good, it's just like, I've got so many games, but then when I put it back on it, I get reminded, I'm like, oh my God, this is so great. Like the guy yesterday who only played it once, probably when it came out, and then he came in yesterday, and it just brings it all back when you're in the world, and starts off slow, and then you just get so many zombies coming after you, and you're like, yes, this is what I want in VR. This is what I want in VR.
It's incredible, and they're going to continue to make it better and better. There's no end in sight for the levels that they're implementing, for the different guns, for the different modes, and the skins, and the character skins, and the gun skins. It's just like they're going to go on, because this isn't a short-term project for Vertigo, right? Vertigo also owns Vertigo Arcades and Springboard VR. So they are heavy into the location-based virtual reality and location-based entertainment and family entertainment centers. So they want this game to be able to be played in arcades for years and years and years, just like Arizona Sunshine has. So this is a very long-term investment where they're going to pour continuous resources in this game. This game is going nowhere but up. It's just going to get better and better and better, and I look forward to every single update. So
I guess you get to see everything before everyone else. I guess. Do you get
I
like
get,
a
I get to
sneak
see,
peek?
yeah, I get, yeah. So like most jobs, right? There's like a Slack server, and there's
Yeah.
channels where development's happening and the dev team's talking and sharing shots and video, and as they're working on things. So yeah, I get to see a lot, and I get to put in some input, and I'm becoming more and more active with the After the Fall stuff there. My primary job there is to support VR arcades all over the world and support the games and the hardware and to help arcades become successful. But then I split my time between that now and community management for After the Fall for the United States.
Yes.
So I do a little of both. But yeah, I would love to see After the Fall continue to grow and become more and more popular, because it really is an incredible game.
So you were talking about the Lawnmower Man, which was the 90s, right? Early mid 90s, right? And then I remember watching that, and it was, he put the headset on, right, and everything would change around him. And how many times did you say you've seen that film?
Oh man, I've probably seen the movie hundreds of times. I mean, between Lawnmower Man and Tron, I mean, those two movies I've watched 1 trillion times. Yeah, I mean, the concept is, it was kind of what they imagined the future of VR would be like, but they kind of used VR in that movie to be able to take some, like a slow guy, like a guy that was very, just wasn't smart. He didn't have all decks, the cards in his deck, right? And they used it to make him more and more smart until he became ultra smart, and he kind of went into the VR world and became kind of God in the VR world, which I thought was just super, super cool.
Yeah, I think my headset doesn't help me with my brain, so it just goes downhill, gets worse. I have a confession to make. I did tell you I'd watch it, and Mac and VR's been telling me for ages to watch it, but I haven't seen Ready Player One still to this day, or read the book or anything.
That's wild. So I mean, like, I think I've told you this before. I would almost say if you're into either reading or audiobooks, don't even watch the movie. Like, the book is so good.
Yeah.
It's light years above the movie, light years. But it is, I mean, it is absolutely incredible. From retro gaming all the way to VR, they encompass everything, and it is so good. The story's incredible. It's really good. And plus, it's kind of a prophecy that has been told, right? Where in the movie and in the book, there's a company called IOI, and they aim to control everything in the metaverse, from the advertisement space on your, in front of your face, to everything that you do, the currency that you use. They control everything, and this is very much like what's happening right now with Meta and with Mark Zuckerberg, right?
Yes.
So it's very much like, hey, be careful, something like this could happen, and then all of a sudden, look what's happening, and no one cares. It's a little weird to me, but it's an incredible movie, great story. I mean, incredible book, really. The movie's okay, but compared to the book, it's just subpar. So
I found the
Good stuff,
audio
though.
book on YouTube. I think it's 16 hours or something, 12 to 16 hours. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a go, because I didn't watch the movie because I looked at it and I just thought that's not my kind of movie. Just by, you watch a trailer and I like different genres, and then I was like, yeah, that's not for me. But I will.
Yeah, the whole VR thing, I hear you. That's not for me.
Yeah. Bloody idiots put headsets on their faces and pretend to be somebody that they're not, right?
That'll never happen.
Nah,
That's not the actual future.
That's so 1985.
It's funny because you have books like that kind of show what companies are going to do in VR, and really were really good at gauging where the VR market was going to go. And then you have books like Snow Crash, right? Snow Crash was done in the early 90s, and they nailed things that they shouldn't have been able to nail. Like, they nailed the exact resolution and frame rate of the original Quest in that book.
And what year was that?
That was in like 90, I don't know, it was somewhere in the early 90s.
Right, okay. Wow, that was...
Or mid 90s? Yeah, I mean, before consumer VR was even no one, there was nothing for consumers,
That's crazy.
Yeah, and they nailed the resolution, and they nailed the frame rate exactly. They had this whole envision of them. It's where the term metaverse came from. It was the first time it was ever used, was in the book Snow Crash. It was pretty good. It's a super weird book. It is not nearly, to me, as good as Ready Player One, but it's crazy the things that they saw, like they envisioned in the future, that are pretty close to spot on here.
And that book was that something you read when it came out straight away? You kind of knew the book was about that, or you just... No, okay.
So Snow Crash I read because I was in a VR, and people were like, "Oh, metaverse!" It came from this book called Snow Crash, and then I just kind of got intrigued in what it was all about. And I used to do a lot of driving.
Yep.
I used to do a lot of driving for work and for to visit family and to go to all these conventions and expos. So I'd be in the car for 4 or 5 hours at a time, and it's perfect for audiobooks.
Oh, okay,
Most of my books have been, at least recently, have been audiobooks from all the driving. That's how I read Ready Player One. It was an audiobook.
Okay.
So, yeah. And the audiobook for Ready Player One's great. It's voiced by Will Wheaton, and he does all the characters, and he's a great actor, and he's a fellow nerd. So, it's good stuff.
What movies is he from? Who is he in?
He is in, so he was in Star Trek. He was one of the dudes in Star Trek. He was also in The Big Bang Theory, that show.
Right, okay.
He was like Sheldon's arch enemy, and then they became friends.
Okay.
But, so he's been in all kinds of pop culture stuff throughout my childhood and up till today, and up through The Big Bang Theory. And but yeah, he's a good actor, and he, when he reads Ready Player One, he kind of embodies all the characters and makes it really enjoyable to listen to.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put that on the list as well, because I'm definitely behind with these kind of books, to be honest. I listen to the same audiobooks every night while I go to sleep, just because the guy's voice is kind of soothing, but he's talking about killing people and things like that, but it helps me sleep, which is really strange.
Yeah, you just go to sleep to listen about murder. And
it
you
helps.
Wake up in the morning with blood on your hands, and you're like, "What happened last night?"
Yeah. Mate, I'm telling you, sometimes I have some really freaked out nightmares listening to those kind of books.
Dude, right? Wow.
Yeah. I'm not an axe murderer or a freak or anything like that. Okay, just so you know.
Couple more months of listening to murder books while you sleep, that might change.
You could be my first. You could be my first victim. You never know. Because I could kill you 1,000,000 times in the metaverse, and
you could.
It wouldn't matter, would it?
Yeah, you could. We can definitely murder each other.
No.
Oh.
Look at that. I'm dead. Is that your favorite toy in Neos?
No, I mean, there's so many things.
What would you say is your favorite? Like, you could rip out now and be like, yeah, I love that one.
That I could whip out right now? I mean, some of my favorites I couldn't show in this small of an area.
Okay.
There's so much good stuff, man. What can I don't know anything that would stay on camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe we can record some stuff afterwards.
Yeah, sure.
In a different environment, I can show you some stuff.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I look forward to that. Actually, yes. We'll add a little bit to the end, and maybe have some outtakes, because we've had some bloopers, right? It's my first time.
Everything was perfectly smooth, dude.
Yeah.
There was nothing, I'm sure we could nitpick and find something to show.
I mean, we are just perfect. When everyone sees behind the scenes, they're going to just laugh, because I'm an idiot. What can I say? And
you're doing so much better than when I first got in here, man.
Oh, thanks, man.
Some props.
Yeah, well, thanks, mate. But because basically you were telling me what to do, but I was doing it all backwards and stuff. And you're very patient with I was I'm surprised you didn't just backhand me like a bad stepchild, Because I was. but we're getting there. We're getting there. So for my first time, so bear with us. I think we're doing all right. So
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Let's talk about what headsets you own at the moment. So how many headsets do you have? What do you have in your closet of headsets?
So I have about maybe a dozen or so.
Wow. Okay.
From the original Virtual Boy to the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift and the Go and the Quest 1 and the Quest 2 and the Valve Index and the PSVR and the HP Reverb G2, just to name a few. I got some headsets.
That is some serious headsets, yeah. So you're collecting them, obviously. Most people sell and then upgrade, but I think they'll be the collector's items one day. They're going to be. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, each one of these headsets to me is like such a special time in my life.
Yeah.
You know, they're all very. I look at these headsets and I just remember experiences and times and and you know, showing people VR for the first time and just all of these things and you know, I've collected all my video game consoles too since I was a kid, so I have all those and then now I have all these headsets and I probably should just sell them and then put the cost of and kind of relieve the cost of the next headset, but
it's too late now. You've already started, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. So, what are you gonna do?
What's your well, if you want to, get rid of some of them, send them my way. I can display them up there with the rest of my fake headsets on the wall. What's your favourite then? What is your favourite headset out of all the headsets you've got?
So what I use the most is my Valve Index.
I like you very much.
I love it when it works. Right, yes. It's great when the controllers work. They're good, but I've been through five sets of controllers, two cables, two headsets, so it breaks a lot. But I gotta say, the original Oculus Rift, the headset wasn't phenomenal, but the controllers to this day are the best VR controllers we've ever had. I mean, they are absolutely phenomenal. The original Oculus Rift touch controllers, just the best. I wish that I could use those with my Index right now, because they're the best, and we haven't come close since. I mean, I think the closest we've come are maybe the Quest 2 controllers are pretty good, but they're still not up to par from the original Rift controllers.
I never knew that because I had PSVR. Rift S, then a Quest 2, and now an Index. So the Rift S controllers, are they different to the original Rift?
Way different, yeah. The original Rift, the Rift S controllers are the same controllers from the Quest 1. Exactly the same, no difference. But the Quest 2 controllers, the white ones that are kind of big, and they're kind of, I really like them. They're modeled kind of after the original Oculus Rift controllers, but they're not as ergonomic and they're not as durable, right? Because it's the Quest 2, right? They're trying to keep costs down. Yeah. They're trying to sell this headset for $299, so some corners had to be cut, but they're still better than the original Quest controllers and the Rift S controllers, right? So.
Okay, I'll get you, because I went through like 2 headsets with the Quest, 6 controllers, 4 battery straps, and then I just I'm done. I just sold it. I was like, I've had enough of this. I'm gonna get an Index and just do that, and it's been great upgrading to an Index. A lot of people say it's pretty similar to a Quest 2, but really it's not. Once you put the headset on.
For me, the biggest thing with the Index is the frame rate. Like you crank this thing to 144 hertz and the realism is out of control, right? And obviously the field of view, being able to get these lenses right up to your eyes to where it's tickling your eyelashes, right? Yeah. And you can see so much around you. The resolution isn't quite as nice as the Quest 2, but the uncompressed PC VR experience at 144 hertz is unlike anything else, in my opinion. And the controllers are great when they work. Yes. I do wish that the grips weren't pressure sensitive. I wish they were actual analog buttons. But other than that,
you mean
when
this
they work,
touch grip?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so the trigger basically. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I do like the finger tracking though, but the Quest 2 got the same, isn't it?
Yeah, it works. It works okay sometimes.
But what for? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, it's one of the most useless things. I mean, we don't really do much except for in experiences like like this. So
yeah. I'm sorry.
If they were durable and they lasted, like this is the $300 controllers. This isn't chump change. These controllers are the same price as the entire Quest 2 and the controllers, with an entire chipset inside that runs VR experiences from within the headset, and that's just the cost of the Index controllers. So you would think they'd be durable, right?
Yep.
Like the fact that I've gone through 5 sets of controllers and I constantly have to fight Valve to replace them is completely unacceptable in my mind. But
how long have you had yours for? Your Index?
Since launch day.
Right. Okay. And they still they still change your controllers?
They have.
Okay.
There were a few times where they refused, and I actually emailed Gabe Newell directly, and then he replaced them.
Well, I'm telling Gabe.
Yeah,
a little keyboard warrior. I'm telling Dad.
Dad, they won't fix my stuff.
What headsets? What you looking forward to the most? Like the next headset? Obviously, there's the Pico, which you said you've had experience with. You said it's similar to the Quest 2, isn't it?
It's almost identical.
Yeah.
It's a different operating system, right? They're trying to create their own interface with their own store and all that. And right now, what the Quest has that's unparalleled is their store. Right, they have some great experiences in there, and any headset that comes along that is just as good, if not even better than the Quest, is still going to have a hard time because they have to get that library. The library is the most critical part
100%
of VR, right? So I am, I'm not so looking forward to the Pico Neo. It's owned by a company called ByteDance, who owns TikTok. But ByteDance is a very sketchy company out of China that do way worse things than Meta does. So is that a platform I want to support? Not really.
Yeah.
It's
like, sorry, Gum.
Oh, no. Please, after you.
Oh, what a gentleman. I was just going to say, there's like 2 devils, right? It's like, which one do you pick? They both got
that's exactly right. Yeah. But there's a devil in my backyard, and then there's one down the street that's way worse, right? So I would rather let the company from like America, where I'm from, unwillingly collect my data, than a communist country that's using my data and my likeness for who knows what to do who knows what. Do you know what I mean? So it's 2 sides of a very disgusting, mangy, beat up coin. But it is what it is, So I'll try to use my Index as much as possible. But if I want to be a part of this industry and know everything about it, I have to use all this stuff. So if I did get a Pico Neo, I would, for my own collection, I would use it and learn it and get to know its pros and its cons. But what I'm looking forward to the most, hands down, is the PSVR 2. Without even a question. Yeah.
That headset's going to be
ridiculous.
It's going to bring so many more people to VR because everyone's got a PS. But everyone, if you can get your hands on one, everyone's going to have.
Eventually, everyone will. Yeah. Right. Eventually, everyone will have a PlayStation 5, just like everyone has a PlayStation 4, as long as we can get through the chip shortage crisis, right? But imagine that's going to be people's first VR experience. That's going to blow some minds, man. The resolution on those displays is absolutely insane. The micro OLED is going to be nice deep blacks. It's going to be a good refresh rate, up to 120 hertz. The resolution's insane. There's going to be facial haptics that'll buzz on your face. The controllers look insane. And if you've used the PS5 and you know what the adaptive triggers are like, where they're almost like hydraulic, where you're like shooting guns and it's kicking the trigger back out into your finger, right? That is going to be the immersion in VR for that is going to be absolutely out of control, right? Not having to sit in front of the stupid PSVR camera anymore and having full 360-degree tracking, like a real VR tracking system with beautifully designed ergonomic controllers. I am so incredibly stoked for this headset. I mean, just extremely excited for it. Because the other thing is that Sony has relationships with all of the AAA developers. They work with these people. This is what they do. You know what I mean? Like, they make games. They are a gaming company. Facebook is pivoting more towards business and how we might live in VR and do certain things, but Sony is about games. And they are the ones that can go to companies like, like Rockstar or, some of these bigger companies and get VR games made from these big name IPs. So, that alone right there is going to bring all kinds of new people into VR when they have titles that they know that they really want to try in VR. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of firsts for big franchises that are currently just like on a normal screen mode are going to all of a sudden jump into VR mode. And I think when they release a lot of whatever you want to call it, flat titles, they'll on day one have a VR mode and people can just jump in either one they want and things like that. So
well, hopefully that's how it works, because Sony's definitely going to be, they have made it public that they will be, incentivizing the developers to also support virtual reality and to create, like Horizon, Call of the Mountain, I think is the PSVR title coming, right?
Yep.
Everyone knows Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes.
But Horizon just also came out with the second one, right? That's on the PS5. But there's a completely different game, completely exclusive to the PSVR 2, that you'll be able to play through only in VR as well. So that's huge. And hopefully we can do these things. So Sony had purchased Insomniac Games previously, who had who was a VR development studio. They did flat games, but they were also really good at making VR titles, right? So for them to buy a studio to handle AAA titles like that, but also that is completely fluent in virtual reality, I mean, that's huge. If we can get some of these Spider-Man titles and some of these Marvel titles and things like that onto the PlayStation, that'll be huge. So many people, I'm sure Half-Life Alex will be, if not a launch title, will come shortly after.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
A lot of people are going to be able to experience Half-Life in VR, which is going to blow a lot of people's minds.
Absolutely crazy. That is going to blow
it's such a big deal.
minds.
Oh yeah, it's such a big deal. I don't think people understand how a titan like this getting involved is so huge. Their first headset was mediocre because they were dipping their toes in the water. Is this something that we should put, millions of dollars in research and development into to make a really good product? Or should we try something subpar and see how it works? And if people like it, we'll put something great out next, right? And that's what they did. They took their PS3 Move controllers that were used for the iToy and stuff, and they repurposed them into VR controllers. And, that was kind of everyone's main gripe about the PlayStation VR was the terrible controllers. But now it looks like we're going from the worst controllers in VR all the way to maybe possibly the best. So we'll see. So between the amazing hardware, the sick controllers, and access to all of these incredible studios and getting them to make VR games, I mean, it's a home run. There's no way this isn't a home run. So looking forward to that.
Yes. Go on, Karen.
A lot. Looking forward to that. And I'm also looking forward to the Apple headset. If for nothing else, because a $3 trillion company getting into VR is a big deal.
What's the price kind of tag for that, do you think?
So no one really knows, right? Because Apple keeps the stuff pretty private, but it's been said that it could be anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000. And Apple has said that they don't expect this headset to sell a lot. This is kind of their trial. This is how they're going to this is more of their, like a dev kit that'll be available to consumers as well, right?
Right,
because, what they're really going to focus on is forever they've had ARKit, right, on Apple, and we've seen a lot of demos where people are doing augmented reality through their phone and their iPad, but this is all leading up to this. This is all leading up to a complete mixed reality headset with high definition pass-through color cameras, where they can take all of this work that they've done through all of these years, this decade of developing augmented reality platforms on their phones and iPads, and bringing it into a sick headset that is light and thin with a full M1 processor in it from like a MacBook. I mean, that's insane. This is gonna be nuts, right? And this is like I said, a $3 trillion company that everyone knows Apple, right? They have pretty damn close to a monopoly on cell phones and tablets, right? I mean, it's pretty, as close as you can get, and they are entering this market, which is just huge for us. This is going to put VR and AR into the vision of all of these people who don't even know what it is, but they will now. So
it's pretty mind-blowing where VR is headed now, because it kind of started on a slow kind of going up curve, and now it's just going to be a big kind of spike, isn't it? PSVR 2 is just going to send it through the roof, right? And it's just going to go up and up from there.
It's the like the hockey stick grid, right? Any technology starts kind of flat, starts to go up, and as it gains momentum, it has the hockey stick effect where it just kind of curves up and flies through the roof, right? And I think that's what we're going to see with VR. Right now, it's kind of an enthusiast thing. We got these big, bulky headsets we're putting on our face and strapping them on and putting a lot of pressure on our foreheads. And the resolution isn't the best. And, it just takes a lot. There's a lot of friction involved. But as companies like Apple enter the game, and you just take this little thin device and you stick it on your face, and you have mind-blowing experiences, and you're able to walk into an Apple store the next time you go to buy a phone, and one of the reps says, "Here, try this." And it blows your mind all over the walls. I mean, that's going to be huge, man.
So let's talk about because I know with Between Realities, you go to a lot of VR events. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Is that off your own back as well, isn't it? And through your job with Vertigo Games as well?
So up until recently, I paid out of my pocket for all the flights, all the hotels, the event tickets, because it's really important to me to meet all the people that are involved in making this technology that has changed my life. From the content creators that advertise it and market it, to the people and the engineers behind the scenes that are working on it, and the executives that are making the decisions. I want to know all of these people because I truly respect and I just think it's great. I mean, these people are literally making things that changed my entire life, and I want to know them all. I want to know every single one of them. So I go to these events, and me and Alex, we interview people, and we run around, and we work hard, and then we do all the after parties. And the after parties are really where the magic happens, right? Because you're hanging out with people, and it's a much more casual environment, and you're sharing drinks with people, and having fun, and you're just building relationships, and you're truly getting to know these people on a personal level. And to me, that's everything. That's completely, it's invaluable. You can't put a cost behind this that I wouldn't be willing to pay, because I just want to know everyone. Now, now we're officially partnered with Upload VR, so they front a lot of the bills now to get to these events, and to stay and to eat and all of this stuff, and we just hand all of our footage over to them instead. But for me, it's the relationship building, it's the networking. I want to know everyone. So
same here. I mean,
these events are magical. They're magical. They really are.
I'd have to. Are you ever in the UK for any events at all, or?
Not yet, but I would really like to. I'd really like to come over. For like an EGX or something like that, right? But at the moment, it is definitely tough still, because the cost difference is so significant to get anywhere overseas.
Yeah.
Have you seen some of the movie things we've recreated in here?
No, I haven't. No.
Like The Matrix or any of the stuff. I'll have to show you, man. Me and Tribe just like to come in and do crazy things like that just for fun. But yeah, you can totally recreate movies and scenes using all the cinematic tools in here and all the different things. You can do anything in here, literally. If you can think it, you can make it happen in Neos. So.
Yes, Neos is amazing. I've been in it for a week or so, 2 weeks. Since I got it, I played VR once, and the rest of the time I've been in Neos. I just haven't played games. This keeps you so occupied, and like, wow. Everywhere you go, it's just like, it just sucks you in further and further.
It's like a drug, dude. Like
Yeah.
it's constantly causing these insane dopamine reactions in your brain because
Yes.
it's like everything you've ever imagined as a kid, you can do in here. Anything. It's freaking nuts.
You can do some crazy, crazy stuff.
You can.
You're going to show me some stuff afterwards, so
I will show you.
that'll be amazing. If if any of you want to have a look at Neos or an introduction to Neos, just hit me up in the comments, and I can show you what I know. Basically, I know enough to show you around. Obviously, Skeeva knows a hell of a lot more than me.
Yeah, come on in. We'll do a tour.
Yeah, so come in and we'll do a tour, because you need to see it for yourself, basically. Mac in VR was saying to me, I was messaging him saying, you got a couple of hours. So what for? I've got to do this script in my game for my video and this, that and the other. I go, just come for a couple of hours. Then he's like, oh no, I better do the script. I said, look, just come for a couple of hours. And then we spent more than a couple of hours, and I was just taking him to all the different worlds, and he couldn't believe it.
Yeah, dude.
I feel like I've been doing VR wrong this whole time. I just feel like the gaming side is, what the hell am I doing playing games?
Games are a piece.
Yeah,
right? Games are a piece of VR.
Yeah.
Training for work is a piece of VR.
Yeah.
There's so many things like armed forces, like being able to train and to get into dangerous situations without it actually happening. I went and I saw like ExxonMobil has this training program where they put people on these, people have to go on these oil rigs in the middle of the ocean, and when that shit catches on fire, there's nowhere to go. You know what I mean? So they have to be trained, and they have to know where everything is and how to get to different things and different routes. And so they're putting people in VR, and they're training them how to do these things in photorealistic environments. So if things happen, they have memories already of solving these problems. It's just a game changer. Medically, being able, there's surgeries and being able to see things for work. I have friends that use Neo specifically to design spacesuits. Right? There's so many products that are designed in Neos because you can bring in the models and you can blow them up really big and stand in parts and see where seals may be broken, and the possibilities in VR in general are so huge, and gaming is just one little piece of it. Like imagine a world where you go to school, but instead of going to a building, you put on a headset and you come into something like this, where you are able to, you want to see how the body works. You're able to go in there and actually go through the intestines. It's just insane for education. There's so many applications for virtual reality, and this is just one of many.
Yes, yeah. I think that it first came out. It's like gaming and stuff like that, but I've read a lot of, like you were saying, different training, like surgeons and, like you're saying, people in the oil rigs and firemen. Just there's so much you can do for training, and it would also you wouldn't have people in danger and stuff, so you could recreate, like you said, dangerous situations. And people are getting in now, aren't they, on creating programs specifically for different kind of jobs, right? Like you said, the military as well.
Yeah. I mean, we're in a time now where you can get very accurate with some of this stuff. You can put on full body haptics. There's not just stuff that vibrates like B-haptics, but there's stuff like the OO suits and the Tesla suits where you can actually work and hurt you, where you can feel a bullet enter through the front and come out the back, or what it's like to be stabbed, or like all of these different things. There's just so many possibilities.
Yes.
I mean, it's another reality. It's a whole nother reality. So
VR's mind-blowing. I never thought that I'd have that mind-blowing experience. I never thought I'd have that mind-blowing experience, basically, again, for my first time trying it. But everyone watching, if you want to come into Neos, you can join me. You can come to my studio and you can see what I'm talking about. I'll take you to some of the worlds. I've seen some crazy stuff. Just whatever you're into in real life, it's that times 1,000 in Neos, right? Because you can just take it to the next level and further and further and further.
You want to go snowboarding? Cool. You want to learn about atoms? Cool. You want to shoot zombies and kill bugs, or whatever you want to do? It's all available in Neos. There's just nothing you can't do here.
It's crazy. Neos is just, just come and join us anytime. I'm always up for it. So before we go, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Not that I can think of, but I do want to say thank you for having me on. Thanks for coming in and checking out Neos, and thanks for building a studio and doing this whole show. I think it's awesome, and I feel privileged to be your first guest.
No,
so thank you.
Thank you as well. Thank you very much for your time. I know you're a very, very busy man and very hard to pin down, so I really appreciate you being my first guest, because you guys were the ones that showed me about, you're the ones who told me about this, so who else to have apart from yourself and Paul? So it's absolutely been a blast since I met you. We've only managed to play once, I think. Yeah, we played together once, right? Mm-hmm, but I feel like we know each other, because that's you look like you on the on the TV, you know. I kind of look like me, you know. It's not 100% likeness, but people say it looks like me, so it's my avatar is a little bit skinnier than me. Oh, okay. Tell us about your podcast. So it's every Friday, isn't it? It's every Friday at 2:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yes. We are live. It's an hour and a half, and each week we have on a different guest that we feel is making a splash in VR. Okay. Yeah. And we talk about what's happening in the industry, but we kind of really dive into our guests too, to kind of see what makes them tick and get to know them a little bit better. Sure. Because like I said, I really value all of these people that are working on VR and that are taking their time to move the medium forward, and I want to get to know them, and I want everyone to get to know them. So that's what we do. That's great. And we go into some philosophical stuff too. A lot of the times we've kind of taken a little bit of a break from that, but we really used to kind of dive in deep into what reality actually is, whether it be virtual reality or real reality, and how a technology like this is profound, and how it means so much more than what we actually might think it means. And there's so much behind VR from a philosophical standpoint that we also love to discuss. So we get into all kinds of stuff. We're not the typical VR podcast where we're like, all right, here's the games coming out, here's the hardware, and here's some keys. We kind of try to go a little bit deeper. But then you're very unique. You got your own identity. So I think that's why people are drawn to Between Realities, because there's nothing else like it. Mm-hmm. And it's like unbiased, and it's just like brutal honesty. So a lot of people can relate to that, as opposed to some people have a channel and be like, this is the best game in the world. Like every game that comes out, it's like, and we are very positive. Yes, I will say that. So the way we kind of do this is like, if a game comes out and we really like it, we'll talk about it, right? And we have good things to say about it. But if something comes out and it's garbage, we don't want to waste our time on the show talking about all this stuff that sucks, right? So we don't even mention the stuff that's terrible, right? So we're very, very positive in the things that we talk about, but we also aren't afraid to get down into the nitty gritty about, like, how Facebook uses your data, or how different companies are doing this, or, like whatever the case may be, we want to kind of dive into it. And kind of have a little bit of a different take on how we cover some of this stuff. Plus now we have a new show that's coming out on Upload VR's YouTube channel that'll be coming out. Okay. It'll be starting next month. Right. Okay. I can't say a lot about it at this time, but we have been recording over the past couple of weeks, and we're banking up episodes so we can start putting these things out next month. So it'll be a great show on there with me and Alex, directly on Upload's YouTube channel. So keep an eye out for stuff all over the place. We're sticking our fingers in everything that we can, because we love this industry and want to be a part of it. So that's brilliant. Your passion just shows from when your first time that you went into VR. I could just tell when you're talking about it. It's like, it's your passion in life, basically, isn't it? That's what it is. It is. And you do what you love. It's a fire that drives me. It really is. I love that. That's great. Yeah. That's brilliant. So Between Realities, that is his logo up there. Check him out. I'll put all the links down below in the description. I'll also put in all the social media stuff as well. And Alex as well, he has his own channel too.
He does.
Yes.
We have really both shifted into our most of our content going on Between Realities, though.
Okay.
So because we also do other types of content, right? We do some gameplay stuff, but we also do some mixed reality, some higher end mixed reality stuff with tracked DSLR cameras and VR and like.
I've seen
so
that.
we do try to break it up a little bit. It's not just a podcast. We do have some other stuff on there. So yeah, hop on, check it out.
Right, guys, I'm going to put all the links down in the description below so you can check that out too. Thanks for watching. Next week, I have another great guest coming in. He is also well known in the community and he can't wait to be on. So I'm looking forward to doing an interview with him and just having a chat. It's not really an interview. It's more of a just have a chat. Just bounce off each other, see what you're about. We get to know each other. I feel like after this, I've got to know you a lot better than just a couple of minutes on Population 1 or chatting through the old Twitteroonie and doing it that way.
I am a bit of a Twitter. So follow me on Twitter at Skeeva.
There you go.
I'm on there way more than I should be.
Everything will be down below, all the links. If you like what you saw, please consider subscribing because I have a lot of other people lined up to interview. The sub button should be down there. And I have basically just wanted to say thank you so much, Skeeva, for being my first guest. Thank you guys
absolutely
for introducing me to Neos because like I said, I'm not playing VR games anymore. It's like an ex-girlfriend. It's like a dirty ex-girlfriend relationship. You delete her number and just change her locks. That's what it is. No, I will still play.
When the lust wears off a little bit and the fire of this new beautiful relationship kind of settles in, you'll be able to go back and start enjoying some of those VR games again. But know that afterwards, maybe you'll come into Neos instead to chill out and kind of relax from all the murder. From Population 1. So. Yeah, it's a great compliment to everything else in VR.
Yes, definitely. And I haven't played Population 1 since this came out. Since I've found Neos, so. Well,
oh dang, man! Well, I'm glad I could have such an impact on what you are doing now.
Listen, I'd love to have you on again, and this is my first time doing this as well. So it was. We had a few little hiccups, so I might do a little bit of a blooper reel. We said we're going to go out and try out some toys and have some fun.
Heck yeah!
And maybe I can show you some footage of that as well. So thank you for joining us, guys. See you next time. Bye. Check this out, guys, man. This is what you can do in Neos. Just absolutely crazy stuff. I couldn't even keep track of him. How is he not puking all over himself?
Ready? You gonna try that thing?
Yeah.
It might make you vomit, so before you hop on, it's controlled by your head. So where you're looking is where the thing's gonna tilt. And then use your thumbsticks to go.
Oh my God. Go upside down. Woo. This is motion sickness and a half, but I don't get sick, so it's all right, man. It's all good. Whoa. Yeah, guys, I don't recommend this if you're prone to motion sickness.
Definitely not.
I'll have to just change the camera angle and just blag it. Oh my God, these are in the wrong order. I don't know. Where's the rest of my pages gone? You didn't tell me about this. You said just build the world.
You had one page of notes. I didn't know you were going to bring in 45 different pictures. Here, use your laser. Just use your laser to separate one at a time. Let's
just end it now. Just burn the studio down.
Hey, everyone, this is the magic of production here. You can see through our notes here.
Hi, I'm Right, now I forgot. Okay, I don't know what the next page is.
I don't know either, bro. I don't know what's happening here. This is crazy. That's funny.
Oh, my God.
Here,
Okay, I'll have to... I bet you've never seen anything like this before, have you? This is
brilliant.
This is how we do it in England, mate. This is how we do it. Right, there you go. Before we go, that's that one. That's the first page. I need that. Right. Oh, there you go. Okay.
This is what editing software is for.
Yeah, you said, "Oh, I want to do it all in one take." Shut up and listen to the video.
Remember, your second camera is over here too, behind all these screenshots.
Oh god! Right, let's destroy this bloody thing.
Remember the laser.
Oh, Daddy, how do I do this, Daddy? There you go.